Hey friends, welcome back. I am Jason, and we're going to be talking about essential survival strategies for an active shooter. If you're at work, you're at church, you're at a school, you're at a concert, doesn't really matter. All of these principles can apply. Situational awareness is going to be high on the list regardless of where you are. Just paying attention to your surroundings and just not being off in la land somewhere and being oblivious to the dangers that are around you is going to be key. If you're by yourself, it's one thing. It's a little bit easier to manage yourself and get yourself out of a dangerous position. But if you've got loved ones with you, you've got small children, you've got your spouse with you, what have you, it's your responsibility to make sure that they are safe and you can keep them from harm. Now, with that said, you have to be even more vigilant. Your situational awareness has to be even higher when you're with your family, in my opinion. So, like for example, when I'm in a public place, a crowded place with my kids and my wife, I am on high alert. I'm not freaking out and paranoid. I'm not like, looking like a squirrel bouncing around from all nimbly bimbly from tree to tree. I am just making sure that I am profiling to some degree everybody around me. Anybody that looks like a threat is potentially a threat. I'm making sure that I can pay attention to where the exits are, where some possible cover is, and while they're off having a great time doing whatever they're doing, I am having to pay a little bit more attention, and that is my job. If you're in a public place, a lot of public places, you've probably seen these signs. I've seen active shooter signs. What to do if there's an active shooter, and it's going to say run, hide, and fight. It's going to say those three things. Now, you might be doing a combination of those things. You might be doing just one of those things, and they don't come in any particular order. The priority depends on the situation. You might just need to run and get the heck out of there as fast as possible. You might need to hide. Find some place to hide. Conceal yourself, hopefully within some cover. So that in cover means that something bullets can't go through. Or you might need to immediately fight for your life. If possible, if there is enough time to do so, stop, collect your thoughts, breathe for a second, and try your best to figure out a good plan, a good strategy to either you need to move, you need to hide, or you need to make some sort of plan to fight. That is difficult to do in a situation like that, where your heart rate's going to be jacked through the roof, your adrenaline's going to be pumping, and you're going to be, at best, not as capable of making good choices. So the first one on that list is run. If you're going to run, don't just run in the direction that everybody else is running. It just depends on the situation. Just don't automatically assume that the crowd is running in a safe direction. Stop for a second, pay attention, try to figure out where the danger is actually coming from, and then move to a safe place as fast as possible. When you're in a public space, look for exit signs. Always be aware of where the exit signs are and the closest exit to you, just like on the airplane. Keep in mind that the closest exit may be behind you. Same thing. So be aware of where the exits are so you can get yourself and your loved ones or your coworkers or whatever out of danger as fast as possible. Hide is next on the list. Yes, obviously, finding a good, safe place to hide would be a very good idea if fleeing the area is not an option. If you could hide in a place that it's impossible for a bullet to get through behind concrete barriers, then yes, absolutely do that. Hide behind big concrete planters and things of that nature. Be aware of those things when you're in a public place. Look for the shelves that are in the Costco that it'd be difficult for bullets to go through. Like, big stacks of canned beans. It's going to be a lot more bulletproof than, let's say, the boxes of cereal. So keep those things in mind so you can have a plan if something like that was to go down, and a little bit of forethought is going to get you ahead of the game and potentially keep you out of danger. Fight. If you're going to fight hard. Now, if you're in immediate danger and your life is going to end if you don't fight, then you need to. You need to poke, you need to gouge eyeballs, you need to do everything you can to stop that person from hurting you and the people around you. And you need to be more aggressive than they are. And hopefully you are armed, but in a lot of situations you just can't be. Like in a school setting or a church or something like that, it's often against the law, against their policies to carry some sort of firearm. And I understand that, and I like to carry a firearm as much as possible, but I don't always carry a firearm. But if you got one, use it. Don't be afraid to use it. Train with it. Make sure you know how to use it safely so you're not endangering yourself and you're not endangering people around you. So practice with these tools so you know how to use them effectively. If you don't have a weapon, improvise one. Pick up anything, any kind of bludgeoning device, kind of stabby poke, even if it's a number 2 pencil. A number 2 pencil can stop somebody in their tracks if you put it in the right soft place. Work as a team. There is huge strength in numbers, and you can swarm even an armed individual if you've got the gumption and everybody's got the strength and the bravery, the willingness to do such a thing. And that's not always going to be the case. Most people in a situation like that are going to be absolutely terrified. So I wouldn't count on that. I wouldn't count on being able to round up all your homies and jump the bad guy. Now, I am no expert on active shooters. I am no expert on executive protection or any of these type of tactics. I'm just somebody that has practiced some of these skills, I have researched some of these skills, and I believe that you should too. So please don't take my word for it. Do your own investigations, your own research, seek out some training from some highly qualified professionals. That would be my advice to you. And like I mentioned before, training is key. So get stronger physically, spiritually, emotionally, train with firearms, train without them, train hand-to-hand combat, get stronger. If you're soft and squishy and overweight, it's gonna be difficult for you to get out of a dangerous situation like the one that we're talking about. So I would highly, highly encourage you to get in shape, get strong, get fit, and get some training. I used to do some close quarters combat stuff with the Navy SEALs, and in indoors, it's really difficult to tell where gunshots are coming from. The sound echoes through hallways, down hallways, in rooms, and it might sound like the shot's coming from over here, but in reality it's coming from over here. It's really difficult to tell sometimes, and it's super chaotic. Even when you know it's just training, your heart rate's still elevated, it's difficult to make good decisions, and your fine motor skills are not as good, and that's when you know it's training, at least in my experience. In the real situation, that's going to be times 10, and it's going to be really difficult to make good, smart choices. But that's when we have to make the smart choices, because that's when they're really going to count. Finding good cover is super important. Hiding behind a bush is not going to do you any good. Hiding behind a wooden door is not going to do you any good. Hiding behind a drywall wall is not going to do you any good. You need to think about these things and anticipate what a bad guy might do, where the bad guy's going to be coming from, what a bad guy might do, and what the safe places are going to be. Behind a brick wall, awesome, fantastic. If you're behind something that's bulletproof, fantastic. But you need to plan ahead, and if you're at a place of work where you're there every single day, there's absolutely no excuse to not have already picked out safe places for you to go. There's no reason for it. If you're walking into a Costco, like we talked about before, there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't memorize where the exits are and some of the safer places in the building. School's the same thing. Kids, talk to your kids about this stuff. I need to talk to my kids about this stuff. I need to make them aware that this is a potential possibility because they go to public schools. They need to know where the exits are and pay attention to that stuff. I want them to start looking around and look for safe places. And we need to go over some drills of what they should do if they do hear gunfire in the building. They need to barricade themselves inside of a classroom or another room with possibly an exit, a window exit or something like that. And they just need to be trained up on how they should respond to something like that. Something that I've learned from doing a little bit of small unit tactics is a cadence of I'm up, they see me, I'm down. If you say that in your head, I'm up, they see me, I'm down. Literally, in that same amount of time, I stand up off of the ground, out of a prone position, they see me, and then I'm back down on the ground again. And that's about how long it takes for someone to see you, get their sights on you, and almost about to pull the trigger, and then you're back down out of sight again. So if you can keep that cadence in your head, if you're trying to evade, trying to flee from an area, getting from cover to cover, or at least at a minimum just hitting the deck and getting flat and making yourself small if there is no cover. I'm up, they see me, I'm down. I'm up, they see me, I'm down. And just repeat that until you are safe. Now there might be a situation where you just need to get up and go, but every situation is going to be different. Just like fleeing from crocodiles, serpentine is always your best bet when you're being shot at. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Get some training, do your homework. I'll see you in the next one.